In today's news, Premier lodges a formal complaint against Governor Jaspert on the matter of the BVI Airways.
Police commissioner responds to Bobby's supermarket arrest, and U.S. reports over 1 million COVID-19 cases. All these and more when 284 News returns.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
A pleasant welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday, the 29th of April, 2020. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. Welcome, everybody. Yet another beautiful day in the British Virgin Islands. Javon, I feel like the year is definitely flying. The first quarter is about to end. It's April 29th, and wow, just wow.
It's a lot going on. I think we've been so busy and caught up with all the unprecedented things happening within the world, not just here in the British Virgin Islands. So there's a lot to consume, really and truly. We get so carried away with what's happening across the world. But nevertheless, we are thankful we still have life. And like our Honorable Premier says, with life, there is opportunity. Viewers, we're going to head straight into our newscast for today. We have a pretty heavy one. Now, reports reaching our newsroom yesterday confirmed that the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Andrew A. Foy, wrote to the Foreign Commonwealth Office to lodge a formal complaint against Governor Jaspert, essentially accusing him of refusing to lay the Auditor General's report on BVI Airways before Cabinet within the 3-month statutory required period. Now, viewers, if you missed the backstory, let's watch. Hello viewers, I am Javon Wilson with your 284 breaking news. Now, reports reaching our newsroom confirms that the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Andrew A. Foy, has written to the Minister for Overseas Territories in the Foreign Commonwealth Office, Baroness Elizabeth Sugg, to lodge a formal complaint against Governor Jaspert, essentially accusing him of refusing to lay the Auditor General's report on BVI's government's financing of BVI Airways' direct flight to Miami before the House of Assembly within the 3-month statutory required period. Now, according to the allegations, the governor received the Auditor General's report on January 27th, but up to press time viewers has failed to bring it before Cabinet, which is a prerequisite for it to be referred to the House of Assembly for careful examination and discussion. This seemingly, viewers, compromises the legal protocols in place to be followed. Now, we would all remember the many questions about this $7.2 million expenditure that played quite a defining role in the outcome of BVI's 2019 general elections. As such, the Andrew A. Foy government has pledged to thoroughly investigate what happened to those public funds. Now, not only are we left to question where the monies went and who's responsible, but also why the governor would be withholding such critical documentation from the Cabinet and, by default, the rest of the British Virgin Islands. 284 News will continue to follow this developing story. I'm Javon Wilson, reporting for 284 News. Now, viewers, following these allegations, we here at 284 Media reached out to the governor's office, who strongly denied the claims in that letter. The governor's office, within its response, said, quote, "The Premier has written to the Minister of Overseas Territories. The letter includes factual inaccuracies." According to the governor's office, that report on BVI Airways was received in office on February 7th and not January 27th, as indicated in the Premier's complaint. It was stated, quote, "In the Audit Act 2003, the governor is required to cause the report to be laid before the House of Assembly within 3 months, namely before the 7th of May. Now, Kyla, we see here quite a bit of back and forth between the governor and the premier, but viewers, our newsroom is now in receipt of a third letter. This one was written by the premier to the governor in response to the governor's rebuttal. Now, for the duration of the next, the letter explicitly says, quote, firstly, I wish to thank you for carrying out your duty under Section 20 of the Audit Act number 13 of 2003 as it relates to the aforementioned special report, albeit belatedly. Your letter also completely ignores or misconstrues the established procedures for the conduct of proceedings of the House of Assembly. The Premier, in his letter to the governor, further said, quote, as the leader of the government business, you can be assured that I will do all in my power while abiding by the attending laws and procedures to have this report brought before the House of Assembly in the shortest possible time. I do believe, however, that since the statutory deadline would be missed due to the delay in your action, the explanation to the members of the House of Assembly and the public on the breach of the deadline should come from you. Now, Kyla, a heated exchange between Premier Foy and Governor Jaspert on the status of the BVI Airways audit, which the public has been very anxiously awaiting. The Premier initially said that the governor failed to bring the letter to cabinet within the restricted time. The governor has since counteracted that, saying, yes, I did submit it within the legal time frame. And now we see the Premier responding, basically saying that the governor has dragged his foot on this one, not allowing cabinet, firstly, enough time to peruse, and eventually the House of Assembly enough time to deliberate on what is considered a critical piece of evidence, as we know, in the pursuit of what happened to that $7.2 million. Yes, viewers, there is a legal 3-month period, but within that time frame, the governor must submit to cabinet, have cabinet peruse once again, which will then allow it for it to be discussed in the House of Assembly. And now, according to the Premier, Kyla, that will not be possible. And of course, the Premier is blaming the governor. He's saying that the governor should be the one to foot this blame, Kyla.
Javon, as you said, a heated exchange between the governor and the Premier. A lot of back and forth, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure exactly what one is asking of the other, really and truly. But hopefully it is cleared up soon at the end of the day.
I'm sure that's a sentiment of the populace, simply because, you know, for those of you who do not know, viewers, this follows the alleged mismanagement of $7.2 million of taxpayer funds that was expended on BVI Airways, the direct flights to Miami contract. That was met, of course, with major controversy, Kyla. And at this point, like you said, we're not sure what the back and forth is about. I know at this point, what remains priority, even under the current circumstances of COVID-19, each party has a responsibility to bring before the people the confines of this audit. I mean, we have waited for a very long time, and
Exactly.
I think the BVI public deserves for it to be laid before the public sooner rather than later.
And I think that's what it is. I think the fact that the BVI people have been waiting for years to really and truly hear about what has happened to this 7.2 million as it relates to BVI Airways, firstly, but here, no, we're a step closer, and then for some reason, someone has stumbled a ball, whoever it may be. So here we see the Premier asking the governor at the end of the day you have to be the one to address the people on this, because the people are waiting and the people are wondering about this issue. So yes. So yes, Javon, and viewers, over the course of the lockdown, as you may remember, some allegations surfaced about Bobby's supermarket businessman, that he was arrested on suspicion of breaching curfew. Well, the people of the Virgin Islands stand up and voiced their objections and views following this arrest. Now, the Commissioner of Police, Michael Matthews, revealed that the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has been receiving public backlash following the recent arrest, but says the matter is one that will be decided by the courts. Now, Javon, Commissioner Matthews said during an interview that was broadcasted on ZBVI Radio, which was aired yesterday, Tuesday, the 28th of April. He said, and I quote, "People have demonstrated with regards to that and said that the particular individual concerned should not, have been arrested and was doing their best to help the people. But nobody, including myself, is above the law." The commissioner went on to say, when the law is adopted under these very challenging times, under these curfew decisions, the curfew is very, very clear about who could and could not do what. But if somebody is found in breach of that, then my officers are often left with no choice. He said, the matter has been placed before local courts to decide. The commissioner explained that it is not the police's duty to make judgment of persons' guilt or innocence. This can only be determined by independent judiciary. Now, no charges to date have been laid against the individual. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Information Unit did disclose that, and I quote, that I can confirm that a businessman was arrested on Friday, April 24th after 7 p.m. He was subsequently discharged pending further investigation. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force have not officially released the name of the referenced businessman. Now, Javon, this has been a hot topic around the BVI. Allegations have surfaced that the Bobby Supermarket businessman, and a lot of stories are going back and forth as to what happened. Of course, we cannot report on what exactly happened, but what we see here is persons rallying behind of this person, saying at the end of the day, he was trying to help someone that was in need. I think during the course of the lockdown, the matter of food security, persons being able to get food in time, to get access to food was a big, big issue. And here we see someone who the persons and the public deem to be helping someone, and the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force saying at the end of the day, we have to do what we have to do, and this was the law.
Absolutely, Kyla. I think one of the bigger problems arising out of this issue is, while I agree with the commissioner that no one is above the law, what I see here is some inconsistencies. So it appears that, the law is not applied across the board, and I think that's the real problem persons have with the police arresting the businessman, not just on the basis of the fact that that person may have needed whatever they were purchasing, but also because the rules are not applied across the board. Just recently, we came across a tweet from the police commissioner speaking to the fact that 5 persons were just basically hanging out on the beach, and somebody questioned, were they arrested? And the police commissioner responded and said, well, sometimes, a warning can go a long way. So this is the issue we're facing, and I think many persons in the population. Is it the rule? If it is the rule, it should be enforced across the board. If we're exercising discretion, then it should be applied across the board.
Agreed.
And again, I think that for me, and based on the sentiments of the people of the BVI, that is the underlying problem. We've seen cases of persons being arrested and some being warned, and so and for the same conviction. And so this is the issue I think we need to look into. There's already a really delicate relationship between the police and the community,
especially over the course of the lockdown.
Absolutely.
We've seen a lot of back and forth between the public and the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and it's actually sad to see. But as you said, we're not seeing consistency across the board. We see where just a few days or a few weeks ago, where 2 young men were actually charged with 2 months in prison for breaching the curfew. So some persons are let off with just a tap on the wrist, and then some persons are actually being arrested and charged for this. So we're really looking at, where's the consistency here?
Right, and I think in order for us to strengthen that relationship, again, between the police and the community, especially in such a troubling time where we need all hands on board, where we need persons to cooperate, I think consistency is going to heal that problem.
I do agree. So viewers, still ahead, the education minister rolls out new e-learning strategy and more businesses have been added to the government's approved list. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back. You are watching 284 News. Now, educators and students across the world are feeling the extraordinary ripple effect of the novel coronavirus as schools continue to shut down amidst the public health emergency. That is no different for us here in the British Virgin Islands. Schools have been closed probably over a month now, forcing the Ministry of Education to peruse e-learning techniques that will ensure that students' education continues at home. Now, yesterday, April 28, the Minister of Education hosted a virtual learning orientation session, which introduced the online application Cisco Web, which will be used to facilitate online class sessions between students and teachers. Now, further to that, viewers, students will now be able to access laptops via a government loan program, which allows parents to pay for access for their children. We caught up with the Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley, to speak on this. Listening.
As a result of COVID-19, we are accelerating our e-learning program. For many years, we have been discussing using technology and embracing technology in the teaching and learning process. Now, because of the need to practice social distancing, we are being thrust in this position much more quickly. And we see the positive, we see the opportunities with this. Technology gives us tools that just face-to-face instruction do not provide. So we're going full force into e-learning during this COVID-19 period. But we recognize that there are many persons in the community who may not be as prepared to be able to go into the e-learning. And so, as a ministry, we are putting things in place to help mitigate the challenges that those persons face. One thing that we've done as a ministry is we've secured donations, a kind donation from Unite BVI. Their donor for this particular program is Bitter End Yacht Club. They have generously gifted us with 132 laptops. And Unite BVI, through their consortium of donors, have given a total of 1,000 Chromebooks in less than 1,000 days. And I take this opportunity to express great appreciation to them. UNICEF as well is donating laptops for students who are in need. And in addition to that, the ministry will be purchasing some laptops for students who have challenges as well. To come up with the information, we did a survey, and that told us the amount of students potentially that would need laptops. It is important to note that these laptops will remain the property of the government and will be loaned to the students, and they will have to return these laptops at the end of the school year. We are also exploring the possibility where persons can have a rent-to-own program where they can own their laptop. In terms of internet, we also have challenges. We have persons who do not have access to internet. And so we've engaged our telecommunications companies, Digicel, Flow, and CCT. Flow, who has generously given their online learning platform, Flow Study, uh, they have given access to this online learning platform for 3 months for free. They've also agreed to provide discounted internet packages. They've discounted these packages by about 25%. They are also preparing an even better package, and that will be even more affordable, and that should be announced shortly. We've been in similar conversations with Digicel and CCT. All three telecommunications companies have agreed to zero rate the educational websites. This means that these websites will not in any way subtract from their data plans, that they'll have unlimited access to a select number of educational websites to facilitate the e-learning. We also want persons to know that we will be printing packets for those persons who do not have immediate internet access or devices. We will print packets with work, and we will have videos placed on jump drives that can be plugged into smart TVs and other devices which can accommodate jump drives. So we're putting as many things in place as possible for persons to make this transition, though we know that it will be difficult. So persons can contact their telecommunications companies, and they can also speak to their teacher and their principal at their school about how they can participate in the loan program for the laptops.
Now, quite a mouthful there from the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley, but truly chronicling, Kyla, the education strategy going forward. Now, while the laptop remains the government property, the minister expressed that government is exploring a rent-to-own policy where parents may be able to pay small installments to eventually own the laptop for their children. When questioned on whether this initiative extends to private schools, the minister said, quote, "We have also secured the zero rating of websites for private schools. We have advocated for private schools to have access to the same discounted internet packages as well. We are appealing to corporate BVI to also think about our private schools as well as in making donations." So, Kyla, we see some amount of assistance being extended to the private institutions, but as it relates to the laptop, the government is now appealing to corporate BVI to step up and make those necessary donations. Now, as we see here, viewers, health and safety of our students remains the #1 priority for the government of the Virgin Islands. But here we see the minister taking calculated risks to ensure that our children's education is not crippled, at least completely, by the onset of coronavirus.
Most definitely, Javon. I think really glad to see that we're moving forward with this initiative. As you said, the health and the safety of our kids are still at the forefront, but we're finding ways to keep them engaged and to continue that education process while they are at home. I know a lot of parents had a lot to say about, having kids going back to school as they are trying to work. But at the end of the day, these are the times that we're in. So we have to try to keep our kids engaged as much as possible during this time. So definitely kudos to the Ministry of Education, to the Education Minister, and all those involved to make this happen.
I agree with you. And one of the things I really like about the effort also, Kyla, is the fact that, one of the concerns we had, because we first saw this rolled out within the U.S. Virgin Islands,
Right.
persons having to access school online. Of course, that's not the first country across the world, but within our region, laptops were extended to persons as well. And, you know, in comparison to the BVI, I mean, we question if this would have been possible here, but a lot of concerns came to the forefront. Internet service, access to internet service, access to the utensils, like we see in this case, laptops being provided. One of the things I'm really happy to see is in addition to these laptops being accessible to our children, our students, the school sessions can also be facilitated via actual physical packets, which is super important in this time because let's face it, not every parent will be able to access these laptops and so on. So we're very, very happy to see the government really exploring different ways to ensure that all students have fair access to education.
I do agree, but viewers, you do have to move on. But Javon, some good news came out yesterday, especially for our business owners. So in accordance with the Curfew Order 14, the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands has approved additional businesses and establishments to operate during the phased reopening. The businesses are as listed: commercial and household supplies and appliances, office supplies and equipment, electronic stores, restaurants for takeout and delivery, beauty supply stores, courier stores and freight agents, veterinarian practices, printing and graphic supplies, flower stores, real estate agents, department and clothing stores, marine stores and boatyard operations, churches and places of worship, and funeral homes. Now, Javon, businesses are reminded that all businesses permitted by Cabinet, which we listed above, to reopen are mandated to undergo inspections by the Environmental Health Division and the Social Distancing Task Force. Once the businesses had then passed the inspection, then and only then will they be allowed to serve the public. Businesses can find the business's COVID-19 control measures checklist and more information on this by visiting the government's website at bvi.gov.vg. Now, Javon, this is really great news for many small business owners. Some businesses have been closed for well over a month now. This is an opportunity for them to get their doors open and get the ball rolling again. Last week, Cabinet approved a limited list of essential services that were permitted to open for the next 14 days. None of the above mentioned were included in that list. So, business owners took to social media and public forums to voice their disapprovals with Cabinet's way forward. Reports reaching our newsroom also confirmed that persons reached out to government officials directly in hopes that the list would be amended. Now, Javon, we've seen many discussions surfacing as persons debate which industries should be allowed to reopen. Residents were very persistent when it came to certain industries reopening. For example, restaurants for takeout, service, places of worship, and even barbershops and hairdressers. Javon, we know that was a big discussion over social media, but just 2 of these 3 requests have been granted as salons and barbershops remain closed during this time. But luckily, hair supply stores are open now. I think this revised list of businesses being permitted to open, this gives the BVI economy a fighting chance. Most definitely, Javon.
I fully agree with you. The thing is, Kyla, the reality is we have to deal with the internal opening and phases, and I think that's what we've been seeing so far from the government of the Virgin Islands. We began with the essential services, of course, services that people need access to. It's an absolute. And then we moved on to probably businesses that are less prone to tight gatherings because, of course, we want to be able to social distance, maintain our distance in order to slow the spread of COVID-19. So again, we have to take it in phases. I know not everyone will agree, but the goal here is to reopen the economy internally to ensure that money continues to flow and that it does not fully cripple the economy of the British Virgin Islands.
I do agree. Javon, one thing I see coming out a whole lot, especially during these times, is that the BVI people have found a voice. We've always been very resilient and very strong-minded towards what we want, but here we see the BVI people really speaking up and speaking out on what they want, and they're not afraid to say, hey, I don't necessarily agree with where we're going, and here's some suggestions.
Well, I fully am all for it, because at the end of the day, Kyla, the members of the electorate are the ones who elected the government of the Virgin Islands. Because of their votes, they're there. So really the government is there to do the work for the people. And so even within the decision-making process, we have to be as inclusive as possible. However, the government is charged to lead, and whatever decisions they make, we do implore the rest of the British Virgin Islands to abide by the rules, to support the government. And I think in the end, all of this is going to blow over sooner rather than later.
Hopefully, we definitely hope so, Javon.
All right, viewers, we are out of time. Unfortunately, we had way more stories for you guys, but you can join us again tomorrow, of course. If you have not as yet, you can follow us for daily updates on 284media.com. You can follow us on Facebook at 284media, as well as on Instagram at 284BVI and Twitter. My name is Javon Wilson.
And of course, I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. It was a great time just joining you today and bringing your daily news update. Of course, you can join us again tomorrow for your daily dose of local, regional, and international content right here on 284 News. So, guys, have a happy Wednesday.
Take care.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.